Hello and welcome to episode 129 of Nolo Time. My name is Obed and with me is the most interesting man in the world, Julian.
What's good? No low time. Obed, pleasure to be with you again, man. Just still, quarantining and chilling.
Pretty
That's
much,
that's that's what all the people are doing these days.
that's the life at the moment. I'm still doing pretty good. I don't
Yeah.
think I'm getting cabin fever yet. Although like yesterday for real, it was probably the first day since I've been working from home that I was just like not in the mood. I was not.
I
It was just not feeling it.
I feel you there because I think what tends to happen to me is like I I still figure out a way of not like even though I'm staying in one area working to
Yeah.
try and still like get my breaks and stand up and take
Yeah.
a walk in a
Stretch and
circle and then
yeah.
come right back and sit. That's natural which most people would do.
Yep.
But then there's those moments when you get really busy and you're just been stuck in a zone. When you come out of it, it's like, oh man, this is what it feels like to quarantine and just keep doing what you can do. And
Yeah.
we're thankful. There's people out
Yeah.
there who really
Absolutely.
are unhealthy, and people who dealing with these issues, and people who are of course with other issues that are related to what's going on. So thankful regardless. It's definitely an interesting time, and it's testing, but we're making
Yeah.
the most of it. We're gamers. We're used to this, right?
Yeah. 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 I mean, I'm not used to like the not being able to just go to the stores and hang out part of it.
Sure.
But yeah, I mean, I'm here. If it would be by me, like I told the wife when this whole thing started. It's like, you know what? If I'd be by myself, this is basically how things would roll, right? Um, I would not see sunlight unless I got to take out the trash, and that would probably be the only amount of sunlight I get.
I mean, think
Um,
about it, right?
yeah,
Technology is making it in such a way that you really
yeah.
don't need to go out anywhere. You order your food, have it delivered to your door. I mean,
Yeah.
everything you need comes right to you. There's no need to really get
I
out
haven't
and
had
really.
to. Yeah, I haven't had to mow the lawn yet,
Oh, true. Yeah.
so that's been good because I hate doing yard work. Although one of my cars, the battery died yesterday, so I had to like
What?
after work go out, get a battery, replace it. No big deal, but
Of all the
$150
times.
later, not too exciting. Yeah, yeah, that was not too great. But yeah, man, what's up, man? What you been up to?
Yeah, so I decided to go ahead and do a little trial subscription. I ended up just paying for the month. And what I ended up trialing is the DC Universe Online. So it's been out for like 2 years now. I want to say that subscription platform, and it's all the DC content that's on there, and they have exclusive DC shows, Titan, Swamp
Titans.
Thing, Doom Patrol, and so I really got it just to see Titans and some other old, uh, you know, uh, shows and some animated movies that they have that I haven't caught up yet. They have everything on there, which is great. But yeah, mainly just to really try and just have Titans be nice little, you know, after work, kind of watch, that this is casual. So I finished out season one. And Obed, I will tell you, the first season is a real drag. It's I don't want to say it's the worst show or anything like that or be rough about it, but there's some moments that are really hard to sit through. The Raven stuff is just really not good. It's just really weak.
Really?
That's the hardest part to get through, I think.
Okay.
Um, but the stuff with Dick Grayson is amazing. You get a
Batman
couple.
sells, man.
I know, man, and that's what it is. So there's some really great arcs, and the very last episode is called Dick Grayson, and it kind of overtakes the Raven arc that they set up for the season
Oh,
in
really?
one episode because it's just so much stronger, the content. Um, so you get through that, and then going into season two, where I am at now. I'm just a couple episodes in, and it's already starting to be a lot more heavier with the action and the
Cool.
pacing, and the interest is there, and that has a lot to do again that they're really leaning on that Batman connection. Now you actually have Bruce Wayne in the show, where before he was just a figure in the shadows. You actually have um, you know Jason Todd, a fully part of the team, and you've got several also, the tease of Deathstroke is one of the main villains of the season, so you have a very heavy Batman connection and storyline going into this next season, to the point that I would argue it very well could have just been a Nightwing show with featuring these other characters that come in.
Okay.
That easily could have been the route they could have gone. And I think if they do end up deciding not to continue the show, I would hope that they would still try and spin off something, whether it be even with HBO Max. Some of the discussions has been around, will DC Universe live beyond the HBO Max launch? And they put out a statement, I want to say it was a couple weeks ago, or on lines of like, look, we are still here. We still have plans to exist while HBO Max is out there, but they didn't say for how long, which is why we all of us believe like they might be around for a year or whatever their contract is, and then
Yeah.
after the year it might move to full on HBO Max, because there's DC properties that are going to be on both, right? Like you've got
Yeah.
on the DC universe, we're talking about the Titans and these other things, but then Doom Patrol, the one of the more successful shows, is going to be on HBO Max. They're
Okay.
moving it from DC Universe to HBO Max, and then they're also going to have the new stuff like the Green Lantern series and etc. So I'm interested to see how that works, but it's a good platform. There's a lot on DC in general. The application subscription has a great value for comic book fans. All the comics on there, I've already read them. In fact, it's so cool you can actually read the comics from your TV.
Oh,
It's
nice.
it's really cool, and you can have it self read it to you as well. But it's nice having that real big screen and have the voice of talent really. It's nice.
Is it
Um,
narrated by Patrick Stewart?
I wish. Oh
Oh,
man,
because that'd be great.
that'd be great. But yeah, no, I like the features. I actually think that they've sold me on that, but they haven't sold me on the content just yet. I'm just now getting into it. Season 2 of Titans. Yeah, it's interesting.
Cool. Cool. All right, man. Yeah, I got a bunch of stuff too.
Tell me
All
about it, dude.
right. So, Final Fantasy VII Remake.
Oh,
It's pretty good, man. I really like it. I really like it. Yeah, I think I sent you a message. It's like one of the or talked to you briefly and told you it's like yeah, it's like I played it and Saturday morning for a few hours, and then like that Saturday night I had a dream that I was playing it, and it was like woke up like early Sunday morning, play it.
yeah.
It's good. It's really good. It's really good. I gotta go a little bit deeper into some more of the mechanics because the combat is friggin' awesome.
Oh
Combat is the
man.
best combat on a Final Fantasy game. So yeah, like it's amazing. It's I would say yeah, it's probably the best combat on from any Final Fantasy game ever. It's really good. You can do some crazy stuff, and it's awesome. Uh, that game looks fantastic. Like the graphics are great. I'm on a standard PS4, and it runs at 1080 30, and I think it's dynamic resolution, but I haven't seen any drops. It runs very, very well smooth. No issues there. Music's amazing. Characters are amazing. Um, Here's what I really love about this game, right? Because this game is so you know that I am a big um I'm very opposed to nostalgia glasses, right? And I've talked about it on the show where people look at Final Fantasy VII and Battletoads and all these games with nostalgia glasses. It's like, oh my god, this game's amazing and this thing, right? This game is the equivalent. This game is what you thought Final Fantasy VII was back then.
Mm,
If you, I don't know if you understand what I'm trying to say.
I do.
Like this is how nostalgia looked at the game, but it's real. It's what really it's supposed to be. Um, Interestingly enough, Resident Evil 2 remake. Um, I played it back in the day, um, and there were some nostalgic moments in the remake, but not as strong as this. This is like real freaking strong, dude. It's
Wow.
good. It's good. And I think part of it was that we had bridges. Um, we had the original game, right, and then a few years later we got the compilation of Final Fantasy VII. That was what Dirge of Cerberus, the PSP game, Crisis Core, and we got the movie. We got Advent Children. So there was stuff bridging the game up until now. So it's not as jarring. It's a the transition's a lot smoother. I really love it, Joe. You've watched the movie, right? Evan Children.
Yes, yes.
Okay, so this game looks better than the movie. Like the graphics,
Jeez.
it's nuts. It's like, how are you guys able to do this crap? Like even facial expressions and the eyes and the lighting, it's better than the movie. So it's I can keep talking about it.
Amazing.
I'm only 7 hours in. I absolutely love it, dude. It's fantastic.
Man.
Um, played a little bit of Death Stranding, went back again, and played a little bit of it. Still liking it. Um, Joel, when one of our says here, in the show is when you go watch a movie, go with low expectations,
It's a
and
big thing for us.
yeah, and get ready to be surprised, right? Or that's something in that nature.
Right. That's
Okay,
the route.
yeah. So I watched two movies, Joe.
Oh, I want to know.
I watched two movies that I had not watched until now. Um, and you know how I feel about this property. Um, I watched the Michael Bay produced Ninja Turtle movies that I had not
Oh,
watched until this week.
okay.
Okay, I like them both. I
Okay.
think they're actually pretty good. So, you know, there's that.
Re- I mean, Obed, I think it's more so safe to say it's like it's not offensive, but it's not like anything to go, run home about. I'm not gonna run home to my family and be like, "You must see this new version of this
Yes.
thing."
Yeah.
But it's like if you put it on, you're gonna be like, "Oh, this is actually I can watch this."
It's good. I mean, they're not perfect because they have
Yeah,
they have some problems, right?
sure.
The first movie, and I think that they did not. Okay. The only thing that I disliked about both movies, and we're going spoilers. I don't care, right? Because I don't know if you watched them, but I'm gonna go spoiler on this one. So you've been warned. I did not like the shredder on both movies. Both movies had the same problem with the shredder, where the second one, which they try to make sort of like a excuse me, a soft reboot of sorts, and they corrected a few things that were wrong with the first one, but they still couldn't nail Shredder. Like the first movie, Shredder, that I mean, we saw the Shredder man, right? I want to see more of that.
Okay.
And instead, we had this Mecha Shredder with this awfully like Michael Bayish, this Transformer like suit,
Yeah.
and it was not good. On the second movie, they try to fix it by actually giving you Man Shredder, but then
True.
the suit sucked, and he was just not menacing. Um, other than that, I the second movie was a little too long, in my
Stephen
opinion.
Amell's pretty good in that movie,
It was
though.
good. I've forgotten how much the camera loves Megan Fox. Because
Michael Bay's camera.
Mike, thanks, Joe. Because it's like, yeah, it's interesting. Um,
That's the right wording.
it's yes,
It's
yeah,
interesting.
yeah. I mean, what's crazy is that by the second movie, she already had like two kids. I was like, damn, she still looks pretty good, man. Taking care of herself. That's great.
Hey,
Um,
look, man, it's a different world we live in now. Jennifer
yeah,
Lopez doing the
I
halftime
know.
shows and stuff.
Yeah,
You're like,
seriously.
people are googling how old are these people? It's a
Yeah,
different world, man.
I know. But yeah, man, I was pleasantly surprised. I actually had a good time. I actually teared up on the first movie.
Okay,
It was
that sounds
good. I mean,
was that nostalgia tears or was that story tears?
it was story tears. I mean, because
Ah,
his characters like they try to do stuff with the turtles. Um, it was good. I really enjoyed it.
interesting.
Is it better than the first live action Turtles movie? No, because that movie
Yeah, that's
came
good.
out what 1990, 1991,
Yeah,
and that movie holds up because it's all practical effects. It's
funny.
well shot. It's beautifully lit. That movie is just fantastic. So, again, if you haven't watched the first Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles movie from 1990, 91, whenever it came out, do yourself a favor and watch it. That movie holds up. That movie is really, really good. Even like if you don't look at it as a Ninja Turtles movie, you just look at it as a either an action movie or even a family movie. Um, it's really good because there's some moments in that movie. It's well written. It's fantastic. So yeah, I uh I was pleasantly surprised, man, and I had a good time.
That's interesting.
Had
I
a, had
did
a
not expect that to be the two movies.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie to you. I thought you were gonna say something like Birds of Prey. I thought you were gonna send
Oh no.
some because when you said it's a franchise that you know how I feel about it, I was like, oh, it could be
No,
DC. I
no,
don't
because
know.
I mean, it's obvious that I
Yeah,
love
but
TMNT.
it's one of those. Yeah,
Yeah, so um, I was go.
it's
I
interesting.
saw it. I saw it, and I was like, oh man,
Yeah, now's the
I'm go.
best time to watch that stuff, man.
Yeah, I was like, I'm gonna go in. I don't know, and yeah, I was pleasantly surprised, man. So it's been a very nostalgic week with Final Fantasy VII and Ninja Turtles. Yeah, it's been an interesting week, but yeah, man, good stuff.
Good stuff.
Good stuff. And there's stuff happening out there.
Yes.
Joe Papa Iger's back, at least for the time being, as I guess CEO of Disney or in charge of operations, due to what's happening right now and the public health crisis that's happening. So yeah, it's interesting that this happened, Joel. Do you want to go ahead and elaborate on that?
Yeah, so obviously we all are aware that with everything going on in the world, it's affected many businesses, and Disney is not one of those that have been unaffected. It's been greatly affected, so much so that stocks have dropped drastically low. I was reading today about how Netflix, it's like Netflix stock is worth more than Disney. That's
Yeah,
crazy,
now's
dude.
your time to buy Disney stock
I
because if they
I'm not
when
gonna
they
lie.
because when they reopen, yeah,
Oh yeah, yeah, but yeah, it's incredible to see that that they're in this state, and I feel sorry for the workers and the stories that we're hearing about them. But with that being the case, what we're hearing is that uh, Bob Iger seeing the need to come back in and not. I'm not gonna say save his legacy because his legacy is gonna exist regardless of this. You know what I mean? But to really kind of solidify, I guess you'd say, the future of Disney beyond him. He's trying to keep this business safe and comes back into the role essentially of CEO. That's how I interpreted what I'm seeing. So he's basically saying I'm now the CEO again. Before he was just gonna be just in the creative space, but no, he's gonna be now just really operating as a CEO to make the right business decisions to keep the business afloat and thriving is really what he's talking about here. So um, I think what's important to say as well is that it's not that Bob Iger is not back because he never left. So some of the articles are like, Bob Iger's back. It's like he
yeah,
didn't leave. Like
yeah,
he just changed roles. You know
yeah.
what I mean? He was stepping down as CEO, but he didn't leave the company. The day will come, but that didn't happen yet. So but tell your friends that are like, oh, did you hear Bob is back? Bob didn't go anywhere. He's just back in the CEO role, really. And so it's funny how the article is essentially saying that people in the organization refer to Bob Iger as Bob, and then Bob Chapek as Bob C. So
Mm.
they Bob Iger is Bob, and he's Bob
Oh,
C. Yeah, when they
oh man.
refer to as him. So obviously Bob Iger's still the man there. He's still the guy that's been respected. I mean, he's got the track record, one of the best track records in recent history for a CEO. So yeah, I mean it's so sad to see how quickly they've been affected because it's nothing of their doing. It's just what's going on in the world. So I don't know how he's gonna come back in and try and change things. Of course, if someone can figure it out, I think he'd be the guy to do it. But I don't know how he's gonna come in here and try and maneuver the ship to just thrive all of a sudden now. I'm sure he's taking all the meetings, all the calls now. Obed, what's your thoughts on all this?
Yeah, I think that the position that not only Disney, I would say all of entertainment companies right now are in, they definitely should um, look for options and reevaluate some of the decisions. And this decision of uh, on behalf of Bob Iger, who, well, it was 3 4 weeks ago maybe, that
Yeah, not
he
that long.
left. Been about 2 months, where he left the position of CEO. Like what you said is pretty much on point. He never left because he went to be chairman of the board. So I think that the company, and not only the shareholders, but the people that work at Disney are looking for leadership. And not I'm not saying that Chapek's not able to, because I think he's a more than capable guy to take the reins of the company. But they were looking for a more experienced leadership, I think. And for the time being, uh, you know, Iger coming back, that creates, investor confidence, shareholder
Right.
confidence. Employees are confident that they're gonna get, this thing's gonna pass and they're gonna be okay. So I think that's the big thing here. I don't think that the Iger's gonna be making like really any operational decisions. I think, in my opinion, he's gonna work more as a he's going to steer the company, and he will let the other people that need to work on it. I think that's what's going to happen. Um, this is again temporary, so he may do this for the next couple of months, and go back to just being the chairman of the board. But yeah, it's interesting nonetheless, because uh, uh, I think the big thing here is that he's well respected by not only investors, but the people that work at Disney. That goes from the executives down to the ticket takers at the park. So um, I think this is a good move, a good PR move for sure. And I'm sure that uh, Bob and Bob from corporate are going to work together to steer the company in the right direction. They're hurting. They're hurting pretty bad, man. I mean,
Yeah.
we know that uh, as of this weekend, they're no longer going to pay their employees. They Parks are to reopen the TBD for the park reopen. All the movies have been delayed. Disney Plus is doing okay, but that's not gonna move the company, right? This is not Netflix, because Netflix is Netflix, and they still have that DVD rental thing, but Netflix is Netflix. Disney has many moving gears,
Right.
so
Right. And the
you
only
know,
reason why Netflix, let's be honest, the only reason why Netflix is thriving is because it's something that's so isolated
yeah,
from the what's going on. And in fact,
exactly,
it's so isolated that people are drawing more to them now in these times,
correct.
because that's the one thing that can still be a solid source of entertainment for them. Where
Yep.
Disney offered, like you're saying, various forms of entertainment. Here's the thing, Obed, and I'm not speaking to that like I want this or anything, but I'm just saying, like, had it been a situation where, say, like, God forbid, the internet just went down across the world. That's not going to happen. But I'm just saying, right? Some ridiculous scenario, right? The servers are down, right? Well, then Netflix would have the same thing, right? They can't operate their business, right? Disney is in a situation where, like, you can't have people come into their places because of a situation that no one could have thought, where literally the worlds can't go outside,
Correct.
right?
Yep.
Like, it's kind of like looking at it in that kind of sense of, like, that's the reason why they're thriving like this. But once things, like, go back to a place where they can
Yeah.
let people in, they're gonna surpass and do great things. But yeah, I've heard, Obed, like, I mean, from people I trust about how there's talks at Disney about how they can slowly phase back into reopening in the near future. I mean, talks of like, look, will they have to take the temperature of every single person that comes through the door? Like, I mean, and having a limited amount of people, I could see that.
Yeah,
It's a different world we live in right now.
I think that for the foreseeable future, and I was talking to my wife about this,
Yeah.
and my parents over the weekend. I think that the wise thing to do is basically face the parks at half capacity. So if Magic Kingdom lets 30,000 people in, you're gonna have to let 15,000 people in. Um, so basically, if you want to go to the park, you gotta be there early. If not, you're not getting in.
Think about Hollywood
That's
Studios where
it.
you had to
That's
be
it.
there like 6 in the morning just to get in for Rise of the Resistance.
Well,
You got to be there
maybe
from like
people.
3 in the morning,
Well, I
dude.
mean, if Hollywood Studios faces have 20,000 people, then you get 10,000. Then you probably have a really good chance of actually waiting in line for Rise of the Resistance.
That's true. That's true. No need for boarding passes.
So just be there early. Um, because again, I love the Disney parks, but just going there, it's so crowded. It's too much, Joe.
Yeah.
It's too much. And I think I got used to like my tenure at Disney,
The old days.
the olden days. Um, the economy was coming back from 9/11, and then it got shot back in 2008. So that was the time that I was at Disney. So every time I went to the park, there was like it was good. It was a good time because it was not a lot of people. But now it got to the point where it's unbearable. Like you cannot walk, and there's nothing, and lines are too long, and there's no fast passes. So I think face the parks at a hack capacity. Still let people into the resorts. This would actually uh, encourage people to freaking plan their Disney visits and just not willy
Well,
nilly it. Yeah,
thinking economically now, like you just talked about 2008. I mean,
yeah.
we might be seeing a
Oh
similar thing
yeah,
where people
yeah,
are
dude.
thinking financially. The last thing I'm thinking about is
Yeah.
buying Disney World
S-
tickets
So
because I gotta go worry about my rent, my mortgage,
they
whatever.
can phase out the parks for at least a year. So
Probably.
they can probably do that for at least a year.
Yeah.
Um, you because you're still gonna get your pass holders in, right?
Right.
So
Right.
pass holders get in
The
regardless,
locals.
but like day guests, those are the ones that need to be there early if you want to get into the park.
Yeah.
Um, or resort to get if you're staying at the resorts, you can get in whatever. But just and even pass holders, I'm assuming that they have some sort of facing system on depending on what type of ticket you have. So
Right.
they gotta do what they gotta do. So
Jeez.
at this point. But yeah, going back to what you said, I think the economic ramifications of what's going on, it's probably going to take everyone, and by everyone I mean the general public, to be back on their feet. It's probably going to take about 2 years for everything to get back to normal. Um, we'll see. Hopefully they can wing it, and within the year we'll have it. But who knows? Uh, just going through the this topics, Joel. AMC, um, a, a chain that you frequent,
Yeah.
um, is more than likely going to file for bankruptcy, and we can talk about it a little bit here. Um, I mean, there's like no going around it, right? These places are closed. They basically their sole source of income is concessions.
Yeah.
Um, they can't if you can't make it, you can't make it, right? Um, in the case of AMC, these places have been closed for what, a month and a half now, almost. I
Yeah. It's been
want
a
to say about a
while.
month. So yeah, dude. I mean, which is crazy because you would think that these people got money in the bank. Also AMC is uh, owned by a Chinese company, um,
Right.
but they've been closed in China since December. So that's another big
Right.
problem. So yeah, go
So
ahead, man.
so financially, I got a little insight on it Apparently, they had they were in a great position. They were in a safe position. They saw the opportunity with what happened with MoviePass to evolve their business because they saw the subscription-based processes is the future business, and business strategy showed them like this is the best way to go to get subscription-based models, right? So they introduced the AMC A-list subscription, which is what I have, which allows you for $21 whatever to come in and watch 3 movies a week in any format you want, right? Um, by doing that, they had to take out a massive loan. I'm talking about, I think it was some kind of like 4 billion or some crazy. It was a ridiculous,
Wow,
atrocious loan that they had to have.
it's nuts.
And the plan was that over the next X amount of years that it was going to take, they were going to be able to get into a place where they were able to pay it off and hopefully make a profit. And literally, reports are, you can look this up, reports are that they literally, as of this year, 2020, were just starting to get to that place where they were going to start to see make a slight profit off of the A-list. Like it was getting good, it was getting better.
Yeah,
People were using it. And of course, no one suspected this would happen. So they took a massive risk
yeah,
that may seem like the right business decision at the time that just hit them so hard financially. Because had they not done that, they probably wouldn't be able to weather this a little bit longer than most people expect, where other theaters are in that case. But yeah, I mean, here's what I think. I don't think that this theater is going to go out of business simply because you ask yourself, the movie theater business helps mostly the movie entertainment Hollywood business. And if Hollywood recognizes that that one of the biggest theater chains is about to go down, I think you're going to see a lot of places become very generous and try and help them come out of this hole because they need them to survive for them to survive or thrive rather.
yeah,
We're there. I heard about the Trolls, movie was a big first test to see about that direct from theaters to home on demand, costs, and reports are it's really bad. Like they've lost a lot of money on that movie. They thought it might be a really good test to see if
yeah,
people would buy it, and they're struggling. I don't think it's looking well for the future of from release to home straight away. There's the movie theater is still a necessary part of the business at the moment, and so I think people are going to help them survive. I really do expect
yeah.
that.
Well, it's a mindset too, right? Because people are used to the Netflix model where something comes in, it's a Netflix, and I've already paid for it.
Right,
Dropping $20 in the movie. Same case with Sonic. So I was looking to watch Sonic here since we're here, right?
right.
But I'm not gonna pay $20 for Sonic on demand. Uh,
It's
to
yeah.
buy it digitally is like I'll hold off to the Blu-ray in May, and or rent it when in May when the Blu-ray comes out. But I can imagine that they're they're like not having a great time with
No,
that movie
no,
right
not at
now.
all.
Yeah, yeah, man. It's rough. It's rough, and I can see, again, AMC had that deal and that loan. Disney also secured a loan, a big loan in the last few days. I think it was like a $500 million loan, um, to basically keep going ahead on their schedule. The thing with Disney, going back real quick, is that they have a lot of construction going on here, which
Yeah.
apparently they stopped. That would have been
Really?
so. I don't know why. Okay, if you already budgeted for that,
Right.
right? Why do you need to stop that construction? Construction workers are always covered. They're fine. Whatever they.
Yeah.
I don't see a reason why they need to stop that. That this would have been a great time to actually
Perfect.
do that, because you
It
don't
would probably
have to,
save money because it'd be faster.
because it would be faster. You don't have to hide it from guests coming
Yeah.
in. So I really don't know what's the reasoning behind it. On the other hand, actually, some great news if you live in Central Florida. Like they've actually made progress on the I-4 mess,
Yes.
because there's no traffic. So now they can reroute traffic however the hell they want, and it's actually working. So like they're actually making advancements. So for the last 30 days, they're actually doing pretty good. But Disney should have just gone ahead and freaking like push it. Like, you don't have to do it at night now,
What
right?
are you
You don't have
doing,
to
Disney?
load
Come
stuff.
on, guys.
I mean, I don't. Disney is a great company, man, but sometimes
Absolutely.
they're just like, sometimes it's like ass backwards. They're like Nintendo sometimes, right? It's like,
It
it's
makes too
crazy.
much sense. Come on.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, oh, there's like 4 unreleased Mario games since the GameCube that people want to play. I don't know. I really don't. Yeah, come on. And it's like, just makes too much sense, right?
Come on, guys.
Um, but yep, it's gonna be pretty interesting, man.
Hmm.
Jill, we talked about it a few months ago that there's rumors that John Krasinski was going to be involved somehow with the MCU. Apparently, this is going deeper now. Go ahead and give us more info on it, sir.
Yeah, so take this with a large grain of salt. I don't like salt in my food, but you gotta
Although
take a lot of salt on this one.
it's a credible source.
It is.
Yeah,
But look, I mean, there's so small details. So the news that we're hearing is that apparently John Krasinski has had meetings with Kevin Feige, or a meeting. We don't know, meetings. We're not entirely sure. But according to the report, he's had a meeting, Zoom meeting, online meeting with Kevin Feige to discuss upcoming Marvel projects. Now, Feige's known for doing this kind of thing. The Rock a couple years ago talked about that he had a meeting with Kevin Feige about some projects, and so Zac Efron's done it before. I mean, there's several different major actors that the Marvel does this with, and then nothing comes out of it, or maybe it's something for a lot later time. Of course, the instant knee-jerk reaction is we've been crying, the fan base, for this guy to be, Reed Richards, Mr. Fantastic,
yeah,
and with him being in it, his wife Emily Blunt coming in as Sue Storm, it's that instant reaction of that must mean X, Y, and Z. It doesn't have to mean that. First of all, it doesn't mean that he's going to be doing any projects whatsoever. He's at least talking to them, which is cool. Secondly, even if he does do something, it doesn't mean that's Mr. Fantastic. It could even mean the guy's just directing something and I'm starring in it. But I'm going to play devil's advocate here. I do believe, I like at this point, I got to drink the Kool-Aid. I really believe that this guy is going to be Reed Richards. I think Kevin Feige, I've said it before on the show, he's a heat-seeking missile. If you're hot, he's onto you.
yeah,
And, we've seen John Krasinski, Emily Blunt, such a powerful Hollywood couple. It is an incredible, absolutely incredible opportunity to have the two of them come in with so many fans saying that they want this. Feige loves to give some really strong fan service. I mean, we see that in like a lot of the movies, and Endgame, especially, a huge amount of fan service. He knows what the people want. He tries to give it to them. So I think even he knows, like, gosh, you would get such a great reaction if we announce. I mean, imagine now with all the stuff going on in the world, you have
yeah,
like Bob Iger put a tweet out. I heard someone else say this. Bob Iger puts a tweet out, and it's like, I think John Krasinski is fantastic,
yeah,
or something like that,
yeah.
just to give the world a little smile.
Yeah, exactly. Because you'll know, like at that point, you would know what it's all about. But yeah, we've been talking about it for forever, about the possibility of him being Reed Richards, and I'm behind it. Like I'm there all the way. I really, and Emily Blunt as Sue Storm, I'm good. So really no problems there. Just bring The Rock as Ben Grimm.
Oh my gosh, I didn't
And
even.
if you bring The Rock as Ben Grimm, and then you nail Johnny Storm, like
Zac
you get like
Efron.
Zac Efron,
I just said it. Oh my
bro,
gosh.
I'm telling you that this, this is good. This
Money.
is yes, this is Endgame. This is not Endgame. This is Infinity War levels of money.
Yes,
So
it's big.
it'll be big because people will go to the friggin' movie theater.
All
Uh,
kinds of people.
and then you get, man, I don't know, Fassbender to be Doom, or
Or Hugh Jackman's been
or
rumored to come in as Doom.
that would be great.
Yeah, dude.
I mean, yeah, yep.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah,
So
I'm
so
done.
here's a question I will ask you, because we're talking about what we want, right? But let's talk about hypothetical scenarios. Say this stuff starts to happen, right?
Okay.
How mad would you be if John Krasinski gets cast, but they
Okay.
don't cast Emily Blunt? than some other woman,
Hmm.
or vice versa. If you only get one and not the other for some reason, like he directs it and his wife stars in it with someone, like would that be like, geez, like what a waste? Like I mean, it'd be a missed opportunity, but
It's
would
a
you be
missed
like,
opportunity. It's like a super,
yeah,
super missed opportunity. Um, I mean, if Emily Blunt's not in there, I mean, it's not gonna be a no sell, right? Depends
right?
on
You
who you
still
get.
see it,
Like it all depends on who you get. Um, but I mean, that would be like there's like we were just talking about it.
right?
There's things that make just too much sense, and this is one of them.
And that would be a problem, I think. In general, people will go see these movies, they're Marvel movies, right? But like, I do think it would be really affecting them, the PR side, if they don't get, like if they announce someone else with how much fans want this right now, it
Yeah,
would literally like really disappoint people and not be, it'd be very, very negative for them. So I think they're smarter than that, but
yeah. I think
we'll
fans
see.
really want it. I mean, that's they'll probably do it. They'll probably do it. Yeah, we'll see. It's gonna be pretty interesting. Let's go ahead and all right. Before there's a few gaming news, but before we jump in, Jill, let's do a quick Star Wars update because there's a few things that dropped. First of all, is that animated short that was created using the Contravaro script. What do you think? Because we briefly talked about it, and I told you that I liked it, but I can see where Disney was gonna be just like, yo, dog, this is too dark. We probably can't go there. Uh, but for the most part, it sort of kind of worked. Um, I would have loved to see elements from this thing on the Rise of Skywalker. Um, I like Rise of Skywalker, but there's some elements here uh like Rey's attitude more than anything, and her not being connected to anything. I would have loved to see that. I mean, we got something else, but it's fine. Yeah, man. Well, what do you think? It was very well done. I think the video.
Yeah, yeah. I think that's the big thing that sticks out to me is Ray herself. Like the Ray that you get in the Trevorrow script, I think I'm a little bit more fond of based off what we've read.
Yep.
Um, I think I'm a little more fond of that, but the overall story, like I still prefer the Rise of Skywalker story. I can't imagine if the roles were reversed. Say we watched this movie, this the I forget the name of what the name of this was going to be
Duel of the
called. It was
Fates.
Duel of the Fates.
Yeah.
So if imagine we Duel of the Fates is the movie we get, and then afterwards it reverse, it flips where the Rise of Skywalker script is leaked, right? What JJ
Yeah.
was gonna do, and then like we see like she was gonna be a
And
Palpatine,
everyone's like, "Oh my god, Palpatine was gonna be
and the
back."
Emperor was gonna be back, and he was gonna
Yeah.
be on Exegol and all this. I think I that to me like to just the Emperor alone. And I know for some people that's what really turned them off to some of the movie, right?
Yeah.
They're like,
Yeah.
why is this guy back like this? But for me, that whole part of it was what really drew me in more to it because you took something that's really strong of the old and you use a lot of the strengths of the new to kind of bring together a really interesting story for the end for me. But the elements of Rey, the whole Jedi training stuff of her with Force Luke being trained and her saying like she's not sure if she wants to really be a Jedi. Like the balance between the dark and the light has been going on for so long. Maybe it should
Yeah.
be different. All that kind of stuff,
The
and
new
her reading
lightsaber,
the new
I
lightsaber.
like. I like a lot because they basically put duct tape on the other one and fixed it.
Right.
This one was she actually made. She used the igniter and of Anakin's old lightsaber, but she made it her own with a dual bladed lightsaber.
That's
So
awesome.
that to me was like at least freaking keep that because that was cool.
Yeah. That
Yeah,
would
and
sell toys. Jeez.
yeah, seriously. But yeah, some things, and it was good. I mean, I would have again liked to seen this, but I mean, Rise of Skywalker was fine. I enjoyed it, you know, quite a bit. We talked about it already at nauseum. I'm wearing a shirt, so
Yeah.
so yeah, it would have been cool. There's elements for sure. Like there's things here that are really cool. Like what we mentioned about Ray being, torn between uh, it's like why not? She was like the what was the old Del Paso girl? It was like why not both?
Oh,
Because
yes.
she had both
Oh my
both the
gosh.
light and dark, and yeah, man, that would have been cool. And the lightsaber,
Yeah.
the Kylo Ren thing with the him making a brand new mask was cool instead of just rebuilding the old one. uh when he made it out of Mandalorian metal, maybe tying the movie with what was with the Mandalorian and Darth Vader's castle and the Jedi Temple, all this stuff that's there. It's cool. It's not well executed per se, but it's
Sure.
cool, right? And I would have loved to seen more of that on Rise of Skywalker. Like instead of having them to go to the random planet where they have the celebration and find Lando,
Oh
why
yeah.
not find Lando in Coruscant
Yeah.
while searching for a hidden Jedi vault under the temple, under the old temple? So you know things like that would have been cool lure, I guess. So yeah, not much to say there, but it was cool. But speaking of Ray, Daisy Ridley had an interview, and I guess that she's still confused about the reaction of
Yeah.
some some of the fans, and she doesn't really get what's all the hate, but she's basically asking, "Where's the love gun?" And a lot of man babies can cite whatever reasons they have for not liking the new movies. And you know what? If you don't like it, that's okay. It's fine. But uh, she is a bit critical of the reception. Um, but the way she talks about it, Joe, it, it's kind of leaving, and we're going into speculation zone here.
Yeah.
The way that she conducted herself during the interview and the way she's trying to reach back to the fans and bring the fans back from the dark side, um it seems to me like she's trying to um make I guess amends with some of the fans that were critical of the Disney trilogy. And I think she may be back, dude. Like this seems to me like she's trying to um you know uh offer an olive branch to the fans that are still upset about the Disney trilogy, and and in hopes that she can be received again. um that's what I take from it, Joe. I don't know if that's true or not. I would love to see her back. I mean, if the other guys don't want to come back, it's fine. Just do her own spinoff, do her own like training a new generation of Jedi, and there's a brand new baddie from the unknown regions or whatever. So, what do you think, man?
Well, to your point about having more Ray content, you've sold me on it. I'm not against her character. It's not that I don't like seeing her character on screen, by no means. But I remember the first time you brought it up to me, like, Joel, I think they could do, some type of trilogy of Ray and some adventures of Ray. And I was like, my instant gut reaction wasn't Ray the main character of the last trilogy that came out? Like, why would you make another trilogy with her being the main character around her story when I felt like the trilogy was really her story? She's the main character.
Yeah.
But as I battle myself, I'm like, no, because like, yes, you could be the main character, but the story doesn't only revolve around you. You're the major factor in the story, but there's a lot more going on beyond her that's going on. They spread out the story a lot of times between Poe and Finn having their own action going on, other stuff. Where if you're gonna do a Rey story, it's gonna be like where she goes to where she ends. It's something that directly implicates her, not the whole galaxy, right? Or
Yeah.
maybe it does slightly, but you know what I mean. I mean, it's kind of like saying, right, like okay, you might watch Fast and Furious, right, and be like, well, Fast and Furious, we're gonna have a Vin Diesel, Dominic Toretto spinoff. You'd be like, well, Dominic Toretto's
He's
one of the main characters of
he's the
Fast and
main
Furious,
character, yeah.
right? But there are more characters that factor in. Where if you just have a movie revolving around one person, and you could see there's a possibility. Optimus Prime and the Autobots, right? You can have a movie with the Transformers, but if you had an Optimus Prime movie, he might be one of the main characters of the Transformers. But I could see where there's value in telling a story that's identified just that one person. So you sold me on it when you said it like that. Her setting out the olive branch to the fans, I think, is the right thing. How she addressed it, how she talked about it, specifically asking the real question of where did the love go. I thought that was a real mature response,
Yeah.
actually, instead
Yeah.
of just being like it's your fault. Like basically, like I thought we all were gonna get along and love one another and be cool with
Exactly.
one another and know something different and new. And she talks about how she watched the new Making of the Rise of Skywalker documentary, which is pretty good, by the way. I recommend it. But like it shows how much passion goes into these movies, and she's like, look, you see how much passion goes into it, then just these people just to take a dump on it is like hard for her, and I understand that. I mean, because
No,
I think
absolutely.
she takes these movies seriously. She's not just trying to cash a check. I think she really wants people to love what they put out there. So I think it was mature, and yes, I'd like to see more content with her.
Yeah, I can see them just not a grand conflict like we've seen in the movies, right? Because we've seen grand conflicts on every Star Wars movie, and we see how well the Mandalorian does with more of like, yeah, this is a time of peace, but there's still stuff happening, and that's worth telling the story. So I think that they may definitely do that. Based on this interview, I think that they're moving into maybe tie. I don't think she's gonna be tied to Mandalorian or anything, right? But there's like smaller stuff, right? She stayed in Tatooine. Um, have her go to Mos Eisley, and then in Mos Eisley, someone remembers, Luke, or there's like an old alien creature that's super old. It was like, oh yeah, there was this kid here with a pod racer, and and yeah, it was crazy, right? And some Jedi's took him, and it was like 60 years ago or whatever. So uh, things like that, right? There's stories to tell that they it doesn't have to involve a grand, you know, conflict of galactic proportions. There's smaller stories, more condensed stories. Uh, you know, however, like find a bounty hunter, and the bounty hunter is like, oh yeah, I heard like this thing happened with a first order, and the first order left like a bunch of money somewhere, and we're looking for it, and now she's looking for, I don't know, something. But it doesn't have to be a gray, a big space battle with like, you know uh with like galactic impact. It's like, have it be a hijinks movie. Solo, all right. So I'm actually starting to appreciate Solo a lot more. Um, and I think, and again, my criticism for the movie stands. The first half of the movie is really a slog. Once they get to the train, that's when the movie actually gets good. Um, I think Solo. I mean, Han Solo was involved with a bigger scheme of things at the end of the day, right? But that movie, having it to be a little more condensed. Yes, there was a struggle, but it wasn't like a grand battle. There's set pieces, of course, but it wasn't like a one of those things that'll impact the entire galaxy, right? Um, so at the end of the day, I'm actually appreciating Solo actually a lot more, because they were able to tell a story of a character that was involved with the grand scheme of things, but make it more, I guess, familiar and condensed and
And
small.
that wasn't the problem with Solo. That was one of the
Oh,
stronger suits of
absolutely.
Solo. Was they're saying that arc is a strong point. The problems with Solo is way beyond that. So if you take
Yeah.
an interesting character like Rey, and you're able to put around it an interesting smaller scale like that, yeah, it's totally
Absolutely.
doable. I could totally see that being
Yeah,
more enjoyable.
definitely. Um, Last bit of Star Wars news before we move into gaming. Um, Rosario Dawson's going around in circles, basically saying that she cannot either confirm nor deny that she may or may not be Ahsoka in the live action adaptation of whatever they're doing.
Yeah.
I don't buy it. I mean, we talked about the concept art on Dave Filoni's Twitter. We talked about the rumors. Um, we've seen what I wish. By the way, I haven't watched today's episode of Clone Wars,
Yes,
but we know that they're setting up something with the Mandalorians. So whatever Clone Wars is setting up, it's probably gonna be what this thing's gonna be.
I agree.
Um, and she can go around and say that there's no confirmation yet, but when it happens, she'll be very happy and excited. I think it happened already. It's it's one of those things that it's a need to know basis, and you don't need to know right now.
She's a smart lady. She know like the way it's Disney, the Lucas now of course it's under it's Lucasfilm under Disney now. Like you can't anger the people at the top. You take the check, smile, and do as they say, which is don't say anything. So, yeah, I laugh at the statement exactly what you were just saying. You know, she says there's no confirmation yet, but when that happens, I'll be very happy and very excited for that to be confirmed at some point if it does happen. I
Yeah,
mean,
right.
she knows it's happening. That, to me, that actually was more of a confirmation. Her saying that
Oh
makes me
yeah,
feel even more confident about it happening. Not that I wasn't confident before, because
yep,
like I told you, but I'm big on like confirming sources and confirming news. And like when you have three different places saying, "Yeah, we talked to our people," and they're saying that it happened, it's not an article linking to another article. It's like, no, each of us all heard the same thing, kind of
yep,
stuff. Like, okay, like where there's smoke, there's fire. There's a fire here. It's happening, and yeah, of course, if anything, I don't think her character's in the show that much personally. If she is, that's great. I would love to get as much Ahsoka content as we can. There's more rumors about her, an Ahsoka spin-off show coming out later on where we get more content. But I wouldn't be surprised whatever they filmed with her is in a studio or somewhere hidden that they were able to get what they needed for that character to show up. Probably has a lot to do with the child and her being a forced person and the child being a forced person and figuring out where they're going to drop the kid off or what's going to happen there.
yeah,
But yeah, I mean, her saying this is perfect. It's definitely happening. Ahsoka lives. I love it. Big fan of this. So yeah,
yeah.
man.
Also, speaking of Ahsoka lives, did you watch Rise of Skywalker's with subtitles?
No.
No. Okay, so the voices, right? It's- they have Obi-Wan, Anakin, Mace Windu, Yoda, female Jedi, uh, then old Obi-Wan, female Jedi again. So like the Ahsoka lines, it says female Jedi. It doesn't say Ahsoka.
Come
So Ahsoka
on,
lives.
guys.
So Ahsoka
Come
lives.
on.
Ahsoka's alive during that time. So there you go.
Oh my gosh.
So I
She
found it interesting. I was like, oh yeah, the voices are the subtitle. I bet it's gonna say it's like, yeah, Obi-Wan and Anakin, Mace, Windu, Yoda, female Jedi. It's like that was Ahsoka.
she
It was
lives. She's communicating through the Force.
yeah, 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 well, yeah, exactly. She because Ray was reaching out, right,
Absolutely.
and it could be um Jedi that are gone or Jedi that are still there. You know,
That's totally canon.
it's total, it's canon. Yeah, exactly. Um, so that was pretty
That's
interesting.
interesting. I didn't know that. Now you got my brain thinking. Oh
Yeah,
boy.
yeah, yeah, yeah. So and but what's interesting, so they had female Jedi, and then they had old Obi-Wan, and then they had Isla Sakura said
Right.
Isla on it, and then they go back to female Jedi again. So Ahsoka's lines Say it says female Jedi. It doesn't say Ahsoka.
Another female Jedi who spoke has her name. It's specifically
Exactly.
Ahsoka that they don't want to
Exactly.
identify as
Yep.
Ahsoka
Yep.
because Ahsoka lives.
Yes. 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 So, all right. Batman Arkham Origins is a decent game that a lot of people hated on. But they were working on a Superman game. So there was some information that Rocksteady once pitched the project to Warner about them making a Superman game. And I guess the WB Montreal took over, and they were at some point working on a Superman game, but the game got canceled, and then they um, put their efforts into the new Batman game that's supposed to be connected to the Court of Owls um, on the next gen consoles. That game's supposed to come out later this year. I can't wait to see what that game looks like. But yeah, man, pretty interesting stuff that they actually were working on a Superman game. There's some concept art out there, and it looks interesting. It looks very interesting, man. Would instead of doing another Arkham, would you like to see would have liked to seen a Superman game instead of another Arkham, or maybe both? Or how do you feel about Superman overall in games, Joel? Because he's a tough
Yeah.
character to get.
Yeah, it's like, would I like to see him in a game? Yes. Will I be happy with what I get? That's a bigger question to ask, because if I can't imagine, how do you even make this like the most enjoyable possibility, right? Because you want it to be competitive, you want it to be fun and challenging in the right way. And Superman's one of those characters.
Here-
Kryptonite and magic. I mean, that's his weaknesses.
Here's what you would do for a Superman game, right? If anyone from WB Montreal or Rocksteady is listening, here's my idea for a Superman game, right? Uh, one of the baddies, Dark Side what's
Luthor.
the or Brainiac,
Okay.
creates a thing that eclipses the sun, and Superman loses power because he's not getting sunlight, not getting radiation. So he still has super strength, still can fly, still has his powers,
Can't
but
regenerate.
downgraded.
Yeah.
So you can fly to point A to point B. That's fine, right? But you are no longer immune to bullets, and no longer immune to thugs with kryptonite brass knuckles, or
Is Superman strong enough to just fly up and just push that thing out of the way from blocking the sun?
Well, by the time he goes there, he will lost sunlight in space, right? So um,
I'm. It's a tough sell, man.
it's still a tough
You would have
sell, dude. But
you
you
would have
gotta
to
do
really
something.
reach, and it could be possible, but you just have to know going into it they're reaching to
Yeah.
make it possible.
So it's like that sequence on Arkham Knight when the city gets covered in the
Oh
toxin, and
yeah,
everyone starts hallucinating. Um, it could be kind of like that. It could be something that like the kryptonite gas that
sure.
Batman made on Batman v Superman that got spread around the city, and he makes him weaker. You gotta take him
I
down,
know,
dude.
and I
You
agree. I
gotta.
agree.
It's
It's
hard.
reaching, but you got to do it to if
You
you that's the only way, right? You got to do
Yeah,
something similar to that where
exactly.
he's downgraded and he can actually feel slightly mortal, you know.
Heck yeah.
But like, yeah, I mean, talking about this thing, a possibility. You and I have said this for a while that we thought this was going to be something that would come out at E3, and I kept that torch lit to this day. You know, of course, until things happen in our world, but there was WB was supposed to have their own presentation at E3. Am I right?
Yeah. Yep.
And what better place to have pulled out? Hey, so you guys heard reports this was canceled, but it actually isn't, and this is what we're putting out. That would have been a really cool place to do it. I
Yep.
also would suggest, and I believe I've heard this before, but I would also strongly suggest, look, Microsoft, you need to go ahead and call these guys and say, how can we make this an exclusive? Like, because this would be for them, because they can take all the exclusives, the hypes they can get, talking about, the Spider-Man exclusives for PS4, right?
Uh,
I think if it's them, I mean, how big of a deal would that be for them to get that? Now, would WB do that? That's a bigger
yeah, that's the thing. I
question to
don't
be
think.
tell, right? They hold the cards,
Yeah,
but like,
they
I
can get
mean,
the
gosh, if you're
marketing. They can get
Microsoft,
the
you got to make the
marketing.
call.
Yeah, they can get the marketing rights for it,
Yeah,
but I don't see this being an exclusive. Um,
exclusive.
I really don't see many exclusive being exclusives anymore. Like
Hmm.
on next gen. So
Wow.
yeah, we'll see. But yeah, it was a pretty good tidbit. A pretty good tidbit that got out there this week. Um, Joe, there's a report by um, Bloomberg that came out earlier today that we're talking about PS5, and
Yeah.
they have a very bold prediction, which is a prediction that I've had for a couple of months now that I've made here in the show. If you want to check them out, just listen to the previous episodes. I've talked about this many times. That first, the console price will be between $499 and $549.
Yep.
And that's I've said that before. I've said that they're shooting for 499. They'll probably do a 549 depending on how things are. They will not go higher than that. Um, and that they may go ahead and release this year. Jim Ryan came out earlier this week and said, "Yeah, we're still on track for 2020 release." But there will be essentially a shortage of PS5s. Um, they will plan to more than likely release more by the end of their fiscal year, which is on March 31st, which is what I've been saying. It would be wise for them to move the launch to March, so they will probably release a few, you know, a couple million consoles. I'm sure that they're gonna get sold out pretty quick, and then in March we'll probably see more. So if that's the case, I'm not gonna rush. I would appreciate all the beta testers that are gonna come out of that, and I will get mine later. There's plenty to play on the standard PS4 right now, so I am not in a rush to just go ahead and jump in and grab this thing. But yeah, Joel, I mean, it's I think they would. I've been saying it. I think it would be wise for them to just move the entire launch to March. Um, if they do release, if they do like a limited release this year, like freaking Christmas is gonna be such a gigantic disappointment for for little Billy because he's
Oh,
switching
little Billy.
over because he's got confused about the Series X, so he's switching over little Billy. Um, Also, this would be like the first major real. Well, I mean, we did the Switch when the Switch came out,
Right.
but this would be like the next big step that we'll be covering on No Time. So that'd be pretty cool.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Can't wait to talk more about that. But yeah, Joe, what do you think about this thing?
I think the first thing is your talk about the predictions about the pricing. Instantly, when I read this report, my mind instantly went to the 549 price. That's where my mind's at, because to the specifically what I was reading there was, I was saying that the reason that there's going to be less consoles at launch is simply because of production costs. And 2013, when you had the PS4 come out, it was just a different time. The cost for all the parts and everything to get all together just different, right? So right now they've got to cut back a little bit on simply because of the price. So if that's the point, I think the consoles got to be expensive, right? I mean, you would think. I mean, so when I say expensive, like probably like you're saying, that 549 price. So I think you're dead on there. I think that's a real, hopefully less, right? But I could see that being the price. I do agree with you. It would be wiser to move it to March in general. There's a lot of congestion around the holidays now. Everyone's always competing, and yes, people will buy it if it's a great thing. But look at the state of the world right now. I don't know how little Billy's might be disappointed for many reasons because
Yep.
look, we just people are in very different situations, and as we talked about buying tickets to Disney World, people may not be thinking first of all to buy this stuff, although it brings happiness, brings joy, and it's a good thing for people to be happy, and so I can understand that investing in their happiness. Um, so yeah, I don't know that I don't know that they're going to come out with this thing any less than the 549. I know that that's been the big issues. I think the cost of the console. I think that's what's going to come down to what they decide to do cost wise and what they have to do, what they can afford.
Yeah.
I hope that it's going to be something that works well for the consumer and for them. That it's not going to put them in a bad position. It's not going to put the consumer in a bad position. Um, but yeah, hopefully they delay it. If not, I was actually thinking, like you said, Obed. If that's the case with the limited like that, I'm not gonna buy them first. What's the line that Magneto says in X-Men: The Last Stand? Let the pawns go first, or whatever, right? Which was
Oh,
very controversial at the time, but because
yeah.
Magneto would never say that about his own people. But
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah,
I'm
yeah.
not saying that about the fellow PlayStation fans either, but I am kind of saying let them go first and see what happens, and I'll get mine later
Yeah. Well, I mean,
because
I got,
you know,
yeah, when I got my PS4 actually like almost like a year and a half after it came out. Came
right,
out on November 2013, and
right,
I got it in wow, I got it summer 2015.
wow.
So I mean, I did wait, quite a bit, and in that time, I got to play a bunch of stuff on PS3, like Persona Ultimax and uh, Lightning Returns and all this stuff, and played MPS4 again, and yeah.
I remember
So
getting mine summer 2014. Yeah.
yeah, so um, I don't think PlayStation is gonna like really move the entire thing at this point, right? Because they're really hammering it down that it's gonna come out this year. Um, I'm still gonna wait until at least summer of next year to get it, unless Joe, there's a Metal Gear Solid game that
uh,
would again be the only.
not a Superman game.
No, not a no.
Sorry, I
It'd
had
be
to.
the only way that I would buy this thing day one. So yeah, we'll see. Joe, last bit of news, real quick. This morning as well, there is a report that came out, and apparently Nintendo has a leaker, and there's supposed specs that leaked out for the Switch Pro. So, so they're saying $399 for the Switch Pro. They're basically saying that it's going to have an improved screen. It's going to be a 1080p screen instead of a 720p screen. It will support some sort of upscaling to 4K using the
Hmm.
dock, better ergonomics for the Joy Cons, and 100 and true Bluetooth connectivity. Um, Basically, that'll let you plug in Bluetooth headsets without having to put a dongle on the USB-C. Um, Pretty interesting stuff. They're basically saying that it's gonna be essentially the same. It's still gonna be a 32 gig device, but it'll have an improved. It will have the Tegra X1 Plus chip instead of just the regular X1, and it will have just improved speeds. So it's not going to be like a gigantic jump, but it'll be a jump for people that are looking for better performance on a Switch. So that came out. The only site that's reporting it right now, I think, is Thumbs Guide, which is a fairly reputable tech site. So yeah, pretty interesting stuff, man. What do you think?
Yeah, I think the price makes sense. The timing too makes sense for the stuff to start leaking because again, talk of next gen. It's cool for them to kind of insert themselves into the equation again of, hey, we've got an upgrade coming out to our current console. I to be honest, speaking for me as a consumer, it's like because I like new stuff. It sounds cool, but like just casually as I think about it, it's like I'm happy with what I have. I don't see myself in need to upgrade or trade in or anything like that personally at the moment. I mean, I could be sold on it later, but I mean, just hearing what I'm hearing, it's like I feel like if I was gonna go ahead and just buy something new, I probably would just buy this one. I probably
Yeah.
wouldn't buy the other one. I wouldn't even spend the money. I just go ahead and spend the extra money, get a pro. That's how I felt about PS4 Pro versus the PS4. It's like, well, I'm going to get a PS4. Might as well go get the Pro.
If you're buying
But
one now, yeah, I mean,
yeah.
for sure.
So yeah, I think it's a great deal for people going in and keeping some fresh blood in the game for them. But for me personally, I'd hang out and be happy with the console I got. But
Yeah.
that's not for me. I don't think the market's for people like me to upgrade. I don't think that's who it's intended for.
No, I don't think so. At least not at the moment. I think Nintendo's going to have a more of a one console approach from now on.
Yeah.
I think that they really learned their lesson and they're moving forward to having the same hardware but revised, and eventually there'll be games that are not compatible with the old Switch, but you can still play the old ones. So I think they're probably going to move into that direction. Um, yeah, I'm just to correct myself here. They do say that they'll add more space to the drive. It'll be a 64 gig drive instead of a 32. Um, and I think that the Switch is worth it. It's Switch is what, 3 years old right now, from
Yes.
2017. Yep, February. Yeah, so I can see this coming. Man, I don't want to say the end of this year, but holy crap, in May.
Yeah,
In
it
May,
might.
yeah. Um, yeah, interesting stuff from Sony and Nintendo. By the way, just going back to the pricing on the PS4 because I didn't mention it on the WhatsApp. I'm actually building a PC, so
Yes.
shoot me in the head. So I pulled the trigger, bought a bunch of parts based on the specs that I got. Um, I try to get as close as I could to PS5, but my budget did not allow a 200 and some dollar video card, so I had to scale back. But I'm getting okay performance, I think, from what I paid. So yeah, we'll see next week when those parts start coming in, and um, I'll probably just keep pulling the little hair I got left trying to build that thing, because that's one of the reasons why I've never got into PC gaming. Is just like I'm not. I like to work on hardware. Um, I work with hardware at work, but I'm I just don't want to spend time. But since it's we're all here and there's nothing else to do outside the house, and I don't have to go to the office, so I can just piece by piece start building something. So we'll see. Maybe the next episode of No Load Time is gonna be done on a brand new rig. So who knows?
Interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting.
But Jill, that's what I got. If you don't have anything else, let's wrap it up.
Absolutely. Thank you again, all, for taking your time out and listening or watching our show. We want to make sure to invite you to stay connected to us. Go ahead, subscribe to our YouTube channel, and subscribe to our podcast. We're on iTunes, Google Play, SoundCloud, and Spotify. So you can find No Load Time on those providers. In addition, go ahead and connect with us on social media. You can follow us at No Load Time. That's at No Load Time on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and Twitch. Also, feel free to send in any feedback, questions, comments. We love to hear from you all. Send an email to noloadtime@gmail.com. That's noloadtime@gmail.com. We appreciate it and appreciate all your support in these times. Go ahead and share this with others. Have a good time. It's always a good time hanging out with you all. So we look forward to seeing you all on episode 130.
1:30. Thank you, guys. We'll see you next time.